the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Monday morning to you. It is a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network. VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course the VSiN app. Should probably start things with that.
That's right. Watch or listen live.
It's a numbers game right here. Gil Alexander, Kelly Bidler, live from Circa. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Back from your absence on
That's
Friday.
Right. Yeah. Back feeling okay. But yeah, we got a lot of good NFL to discuss.
That doesn't sound like 100% to me.
Not 100%. That's
okay.
for sure.
He's playing hurt. He's playing hurt. I'll just have to carry you.
That's right, as always, buddy.
No, not as always. Can we update Circa Survivor, though, real quick, at the top before we get into guessing lines for Week 11 in the National Football League, where we try to extract value from the upcoming week's NFL lines? We have eliminations, specifically 46 of them, 30 of which were on the Giants, 14 on the Bears, 2 on the Falcons. That brings the number of current live entries down to 105. 105 out of the initial 14,266. The intrinsic value of each of those remaining 105 entries, Kelly, is $135,000. Excuse me, $135,809.52.
So we have not only passed 100K, we have flown by 100K.
We've soared by it. One of the 105 is one of the co-founders of Profit X.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been on the show before. Not Dean, but Luke. I got to see if Luke is willing to come on the show. And then we're 2 Sundays away from the whole Thanksgiving strategery. Mm-hmm. That is going to be awesome.
And what I found out like a whole 2 weeks ago that Mitch Moss was still in it. I was shocked.
He's still in it?
He got bounced yesterday. Yeah, I think that's what Bill had in the newsletter.
Who did he have?
Giants, I believe.
Oh yeah. Oh. Tough.
Which also, we get to the part of the season now where we've been eliminated for so long. When I see these things, I'm like, how are there so many people on the Giants? Or how are there so many people?
Well, it's a function of what you had left, right?
Exactly. That's right. It gets easy to criticize at this point when you've been out of it.
Congratulations to whomever. How many people are responsible for those 105 entries? So we'll try to keep that going as well. Now, for those who, or at least keep track of it, of course. Here's the deal. If you're new to guessing lines, what we do here is I don't know the lines. Kelly will tell them after we go over yesterday's games, and we do it through the prism of what next week's matchups are. And the point of the whole exercise is to extract value. Try to have a first reaction that shows value based on our guesses vis-a-vis what the actual lines are. Shall we begin, sir?
Let's do it. Guessing lines, fire it up. Week number 11, NFL.
There it is. Oh, yeah.
Another great Thursday night.
Shut up, dude. I love the scratching right there, dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
Commanders at Eagles this Thursday night.
Ooh, I never heard this like trail part.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. What was it? Commanders
nice.
at Eagles. Yes, what a Thursday night football game. Commodores lose to the Steelers in a game. I just pounded my fist on the desk. In a game that could have gone either way. But Mike Tomlin's magic beans wins out in the end. What a football game. Pittsburgh, in a scoreless game, 70-yard drive. Wilson to Pickens from 16 out. Great catch, 7-0 Pittsburgh, a little less than halfway through the first quarter. Later, Pittsburgh up 7-0. They kind of let Washington back in this game. It was a 4th and 15 at their own 16, and they decide to go with a fake punt. James Pierre was completely uncovered. Miles Killebrew gets it to him, but it's dropped. Washington set up at the Pittsburgh 16. 3 plays later, Eckler in from 1. We're tied. 3:44 left in the first quarter. Later, though, Washington gave it right back. Corliss Waitman punt, muffed by Olamide Zacchaeus. Ben Skarnek, how do you pronounce that again? Skarnek? That's your guy.
Skoronacek
recovers. Kelly loved pronouncing that guy's name. Pittsburgh set up at the Washington 14. Wilson a Freiermuth from 3 out, 14-7. Pittsburgh early second quarter. Then in a 14-10 game, late second quarter, Washington 94-yard drive. Jaden Daniels to Luke McCaffrey for 23, the big chunk. On 3rd and 4th, Pittsburgh 38, then Eckler eventually in from 1. Washington leads at the half, 17-14. And then they perfect the double dip. They come right out of the third quarter with a 71-yard drive. Daniels to McLaurin, the incomparable Terry McLaurin for 54 to open the drive. 3 plays later to McLaurin. Have I mentioned he's incomparable for 16 on 3rd and 10 to the 1. McNichols in from there. And the Skins are up 24-14 early third quarter, and you're thinking maybe this is the day. No. Pittsburgh comes right back, 75-yard drive. Wilson to Pickens for 34, the big one on 2nd and 20 from the Washington 46. Leads a few plays later to a Najee touchdown in from 2, 24-21. Then later when it's 27-21, later in the game now, Pittsburgh matriculates to 2nd and 7 at the Washington 8. We were just talking about this off air. Warren for 7, stripped at the 1 by Quay Martin, recovered by Jeremy Chin, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Washington is team magic, not Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, it sure felt like that. That felt huge. I thought you and the Commanders were going to be looking good after that.
Not so much, because then, and you just have to tip your cap here. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap. Pittsburgh gets the ball back again, down 6. They're set up at the Washington 46 with 5:46 to go. They get it to 3rd and 9 at the Washington 32. Wilson under pressure. The perfect Russell Wilson moon ball. The perfect moon ball to Mike Williams at the end zone. Touchdown, 28-27 Pittsburgh with 2:22 left. But Washington has time. Take over at their own 35 with all 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning with 2:16 left. 4th and 9 in midfield with 1:28 left. Daniels to Ertz. Right at the sticks. Ruled just shy of the marker. And it survives replay for the Steelers. Katie bar the door, that's it. Well, actually, the Skins did have another chance because they had all 3 timeouts left, but on 4th and 1 at the Washington 49 with 1:02 left, Johnny Newton jumps off sides, induced. Steelers win it 28-27. Oh.
I don't even want to complain at the celebration, but it was a little over the top. Like, we drew him off sides. We won the Super Bowl.
The rookie jumps. Of course he does. Listen, that play at the sticks, I can't engender the outrage for it. He was probably whatever was called on the field was going to stand.
Exactly. It's that, right? We might argue about a lot of these rules in the NFL, but
that's not one of them.
Aren't we used to this one by now?
Yeah, and Washington is exactly what I have said in the last couple of weeks. They're probably like the 8th best team. They probably can't beat the great teams. This was a game they could have won very easily, but they didn't. 28-27. Pittsburgh goes to 7-2.
7-2. 7-2.
Oh, God. Washington only in the end ended up with 242 total yards. Jaden was fine, 17 for 34 for 202. No touchdowns, no picks. And they're playing and Philly. Mm-hmm. Philly beats Dallas. Not a whole bunch to say about this. Well, actually, the first half of this game is going to get sort of washed away that it was actually competitive. Dallas first play. Cooper Rush fumbled. Dallas first play of their second drive. Cooper Rush fumbles at their own 20 on the exchange. Milton Williams recovers. Philly set up at the Dallas 17. 3rd and 6 at the Dallas 13. Hurts to Saquon, who's hemmed in, but somehow manages 12 anyway. They get a Tuchus Bush from the 1. They're up 7-0 midway through the first. It was 7-3 when Philly matriculated again. First play, second quarter. 1st and 10 at the Dallas 12. Hurts picked by Trayvon Diggs in the end zone. Great pick. And then Dallas, down 4, goes all the way downfield. 1st and goal at the 6. Zeke hit by Zach Bond. Fumbles into the end zone, recovered by Cooper DeJean. 3:04 left in the second quarter. You're like, wow, Dallas could have taken the lead there. Philly's second play of the ensuing drive, 2nd and 9 at their own 26. Hurts sacked by Micah Parsons. He fumbles. Great for Dallas to have Micah back, even though it's not really mattering in the end. Marist Liufau recovers. Dallas set up the Philly 6 again, down 4. Chance to lead, they can't get in. They settle for an Aubrey 23-yard field goal. But remember now, last 2 minutes of the second quarter, this is a 7-6 football game. 7-6 game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will be the peak moment of the Cowboys in this football game. Because right after that, Philly went 84 yards in 85 seconds. Hurts to Goddard from 14 out, 14-6, and the route was on. Here's all you need to know for Dallas in the second half. You ready for this? Dallas 3 and out. Dallas 3rd and 9 at their own 31. Rush strip sacked. Dallas Ferguson fumble. Dallas Trey Lance now in the game, picked by C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Dallas punt. That's the Dallas Cowboys second half. They held Dallas, Philly did, to 146 total yards, 11 first downs, and they induced 5 turnovers for a +3 turnover margin. Washington at Philly Thursday night, an NFC East showdown between the 7-3 Skinnies and the 7-2 Eagles. Philly -3. Gotta be, right?
3.5.
3.5s?
There are 3.5s out there.
That is blatantly disrespectful is what that is.
I believe most spots open this 3, but we got a lot of 3.5s out there.
I think these are two playoff teams, and whoever wins their season series, they'll probably split. But if one of these teams wins, big step on a limb here. But if you sweep this series, you're probably winning the division.
Yes. Yeah. Huge game, awesome game. Can't wait for this one. Eagles, this is a little bit more of a proven game for the Eagles to me than it is for the Commanders,
I think
right?
so,
Like
too.
this is, you know me, I'm a bit higher on the Eagles, I think, than most, but okay, the past few weeks have looked awesome. Let's go and do it against a real opponent now and with the Commanders, and it's a big time game.
Say this about the Commanders. While they did not beat Baltimore, they lost by 7. While they did not beat Pittsburgh, they lose by a point. Could have easily won just as easily. They do not get blown off a field ever. Like, this is a really solid football team, and they are what they are at this point. They're probably a year or two away. They're probably the quintessential make the playoffs, maybe win a game, then get crushed in the second playoff game. Or get beat in the first game, but that's their level.
Probably,
right?
but
Yeah.
also like what a huge advancement from a year ago, right? Yeah.
That's a great point. No matter what, if you told any Commodores fan that before the season started, you'd be like, "Really? Give me that."
This is kind of like where to like just to take it to another team. It's kind of like the Bears conversation of the past week, where I'm like, what did we all expect? Like it's not like their win total was 11.5 or anything.
We'll get to them.
I mean, it was even more ugly yesterday.
Chris Felica also reminded me before the show. Good that we got in that Bears adjusted season win total under.
Yeah.
When we did, because that yesterday, we'll get to them, might have been their last chance to win a football game. I'm being completely serious.
Well, remember we were looking at it last week, and it was like under was juiced to like minus 165 or 170 or something. Like they didn't even want your money on the under.
Was it even that juice that high?
I think it was.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was.
There is a scenario where they go from 4-2 to 4-13.
Yeah.
But that's for later. That was about Philly and Washington. I said Philly -3. You said it's -3 or -3.
Yeah, 3 or 3.5. There are 3.5s out there though.
Okay. Guessing lines. We look for value. Maybe we'll find some more difference between the guess and the actual. The guess and the actual coming up.
Got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
Coming up Monday on Follow the Money, we recap a great weekend, NFL and college. We preview Monday Night Football and also visit with Nick Bogdanovich on the World Openers at Circa and College. Follow the Money weekdays, 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Want to see who at VSiN is on a hot streak? Go to VSiN.com/picks to see all the selections and weekly leaderboard of VSiN hosts, writers, and guests. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber and get every pick sent to your inbox daily. Just head to VSiN.com/pro.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah, came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
VSiN, the sports betting network.
With so many sports in action, there's no better time to put the VSiN experts to work for you. Become a VSiN Pro subscriber today. Get instant access to our daily best bets with a leaderboard to see which VSiN expert has the hot hand. 19 hours of live programming. Power, strength, and better ratings, plus our exclusive betting splits. Start your VSiN Pro subscription today for as little as $9.99 and see everything VSiN has to up your betting game. Sign up today at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Skill Alexander, it's Kelly Bidlin guessing lines for Week 11 in the National Football League. What is next, sir? What's on Sunday?
Sunday, early window. We were just talking about them. Packers at the Bears.
Oh, okay. So Packers were idle, and the Bears, who we did just begin the conversation about. The Bears lose to the Patriots, and just like we did with the Cowboys in the second half, let me just give you the Bears' drives for the entire game. We don't even have to mention New England, who won this football game 19-3, because this had less to do with New England, sorry Patriots fans and backers, than it did with the Bears. Bears, you ready for this? 3 and out, punt, set up an own 48, 3 and out. Santos 33-yard field goal. There you go.
Hey, that's 3.
Punt, second half. Punt, 3 and out, 3 and out. Then 4th and 10 at their own 46. Turnover on downs. Caleb incomplete, intended for Keenan Allen. Then turnover on downs again. There is your ball game. There are your Chicago Bears, everybody. Caleb Williams, the number 1 pick in the draft, 16 of 30 for 120. No touchdowns, no picks. He was sacked 9 times. 9.
Yikes.
By point of comparison now, with those 9 sacks, Caleb Williams has now been sacked 38 times this year in 9 games. Or, as we like to say in the business, halfway to David Carr in 2002.
Really? Wow.
He's halfway to David Carr. Now, remember, David Carr was 16 games. Caleb has played 9. So he's not exactly on pace, but he is on pace for 72 sacks, which would be tied for second with a Randall Cunningham season.
4 more than C.J. Stroud, 5 more than Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's still 3rd on there.
By the way, I went to a deep David Carr dive thing on this. His first 5 seasons, here are 4 of his seasons. The 4 seasons where he played all 16 games, 76, his rookie year, which is still the record, sacks. Then 2 years later, and 3 and 4 years later, 49, 68.
It's insane.
And 41. Oh, my God. Anyway, Caleb's got 38. The Bears managed 142 total yards in this game. Outgained 328 to 142. They had 11 first downs, and they were 1 of 14 on third. Chicago has not reached the end zone in back-to-back games and has gone 23 straight offensive drives without a touchdown, which marks the longest active streak in the NFL. Or as Merrill Hodge said about Caleb Williams.
If Darnell has that ready.
Or if, we'll get to that later. Here's the thing. Yeah, it's not all Caleb's fault, because obviously there's an offensive line that should be considered in all of this. They have no running game as a result of that offensive line. But yeah, it's not working out. I'll say Packers minus 5.5 on the road. Put it in no man's land.
You are light, I believe. Yes.
Come on, really?
6.5 is where we're at.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, I thought I was doing it on the high end.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Yeah, this is Packers 6.5.
So you're telling me if the Packers were at home, they would be damn near a 9-point, 10-point favorite?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Next.
Yeah, they'd be 10, at least 10.
I want to hear that Merrill Hodge thing. What's next?
Next. Darnell will let me know when it's ready.
Okay.
Jags at Lions.
Oh, Jags at Lions. Oh, the Lions. Okay, Jags yesterday lose to the Vikings, but somehow cover the number. 3-0 game Minnesota. Jacksonville 70-yard drive behind Mac Jones back in from 7-3 Jacksonville. That would be sort of the high water mark for the Jaguars yesterday. Minnesota then, this was the story of the game, and Minnesota overcame all of this. These are the next 4 drives for Minnesota. Minnesota from their own 16, they get it to second goal at the Jacksonville 7. Darnold, much time, picked in the end zone. Oh, no, I skipped one. 1st and 10 at the Jacksonville 30, 1:27 left in the first quarter. Darnold picked by Foyesade Oluokun. Next Minnesota drive, from their own 16, they get it to second goal at the Jacksonville 7. Darnold, much time, picked in the end zone by Monteric Brown. Next time Minnesota got the ball, Andre Sisco misses a surefire pick on first down. 3 and out anyway. That'll get washed away in history. Then on the 4th drive in this sequence, Minnesota matriculates 3rd and 4th at Jacksonville 18. Darnold picked at the goal line by Darnell Savage. So literally it should have been 4 straight drives where Darnold got picked. Instead it was 3 of 4. No matter, because they're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. John Parker Romo added a field goal to make it 7-6 Jacksonville. And then in the 4th quarter, Romo squeaks in a 34-yarder to make it 9-7 Minnesota. Jacksonville second play, 2nd and 13 at their own 27, fumble on exchange. Harrison Smith recovers. That led to another J.P. Romo 29-yard field goal to make it 12-7. Jacksonville still had 2 chances down 5 to win this game. The first try, 2nd and 8 at their own 32. Jones was picked by Byron Murphy Jr., and then the next time they took over at their own 17 with 2:42 left, 1st and 10 at the Minnesota 43. They were 43 yards away from winning this. Jones picked by Cameron Bynum. And by the way, the game ended. You thought the Washington jumping offsides was bad. Minnesota at their own 1. They're set to punt, but on 3rd down of the sequence, they get it just, they get some room past the goal line, but it's still 3rd down. Unnecessary roughness penalty on Jacksonville instead of getting the ball back.
Oh, yeah.
Ball game.
That's right.
Brutal. And then the Detroit Lions. For those of you who missed this ball game last night, this was the headline of the NFL weekend, even more so than that Bengals-Ravens game on Thursday.
Really? Okay.
Oh, this game last night. Are you kidding me? The Detroit Lions overcome 5 picks from Jared Goff to come from behind to beat the Houston Texans 26-23. 2nd and 11 at their own 41. Less than 2 minutes into the game, Goff deflected in the air, picked by Jimmy Ward, sets up Houston at the Detroit 33. They convert a 3rd and 10. They convert a 3rd and 16. Makes it in from 8, 7-0 Houston. Later, it's 10-0. Might have been a 3 and out. Goff then hit Jamison Williams instead for 23 on 3rd and 16. That matriculated the ball down the field for them. 11 plays, 70 yards. Goff to Laporta for 20, touchdown. 10-7 Houston. And you're figuring, okay, Detroit's going to come back real quick. Nope, not the case. 13-7. Detroit 1st and 10, their own 35. Danico Autry hits Goff's arm as he's throwing it, picked by Henry Tuotuo. Houston set up at the Detroit 36, leads to another Fairbairn field goal. It's 16-7. And then late in the half, 6 plays, 66 yards for the Texans in 42 seconds. Stroud to Mechie from 15 out. Nice to see him get in the end zone. To Mechie for 25 earlier in the drive. 23-7 Houston. Goff picked the 3rd time by Kamari Lassiter on a deep throw, just a Hail Mary at the end of the half. So that's 3 already. So it's 23-7. We go to the second half. Dan Campbell's being interviewed by Melissa Stark. He needs a turnover, he says. Stroud immediately picked by Carlton Davis. But you know what Jared Goff does? He goffs. He immediately, 2nd and 11 at the Houston 20, throws another pick to Kamari Lassiter in the end zone. Less than a minute and a half into the 3rd quarter. So that's his 4th pick. But Houston is pinned at their 1. By the way, should note that Detroit's money line at this point was plus 409. How do I know that? I think you know I know that. All right,
I took a piece early in the game, but I wasn't that.
So Detroit now, they're down 23-7. They're set up at the Houston 44 after a 3 and out for the Texans. 12:44 left in the 3rd quarter. 3 plays. Goff to Laporta for 37. Sets up Montgomery in from 3. 23-13. 2-point try fails. We're still early 3rd quarter. Houston, 2nd and 4th at Detroit 30. Stroud has Tank Dell wide open in the end zone. Stroud throws it late, picked by a leaping Carlton Davis for the touchback. Goff returns the favor, picked again by Kalen Bullock. So it's still 23-13. Now, this whole time, you have to give the Lions the ultimate credit. They haven't abandoned the run. Mm-hmm. They're not panicking. That 5 picks, no big deal. We're the Detroit Lions. We're awesome. Detroit, 7 plays, 63 yards. Goff to St. Brown from 9 out, 23-20 with 11:38 left. Next time Detroit gets the ball after a Houston punt, they take over at their own 17 with 8:21 to go. Bates, 58-yard field goal, which scrapes the right upright, the 3rd longest field goal in Detroit history. We're tied at 23 with 5:01 left. Houston, now, still tie game. They can still on their racket, right? They get to 3rd and 5 of the Detroit 40 with 2 minutes left. Terrion Arnold interferes with Xavier Hutchinson on the 3rd down play. It goes uncalled. Fairbairn, 58-yard field goal. So your options are we punt, we kick a 58-yarder, or we go for it on 4th and 4. Because Dan Campbell just kicked a 58-yarder, there's a little peer pressure involved here, I believe.
Yeah.
And D'Amico Ryan says, let's kick a 58-yarder, and Fairbairn, the snap was high. It never had a chance. It was way wide left. Detroit gets the ball back. They kind of settle, by the way, a little weird sequence at the end. They kind of settle for a Bates 52-yard field goal. This one scrapes the left upright, and Bates, after the game, is talking about how he just wants to be a vehicle for the good Lord above. And, man, the good Lord above was scraping uprights for him. The Lions win it 26-23. The last time a team came back from a deficit of at least 15 points in a game where they also threw 5 picks was 54 years ago. 1970, Johnny Unitas did it. You remember that game.
Oh, yeah.
And as for Goff, he becomes the first quarterback since Matt Ryan in 2012 to throw 5 picks and win a game. He also becomes the first quarterback since Tony Romo in 2007 to throw 5 picks on the road and still win. Whew. Lions have got to be monster favorites against the Jaguars. 10.5, too low?
Yeah, too low. It is 13, I believe is what I saw it at.
That's probably a better number.
Yeah, 13.
That's
13.
probably a better number. Mine was way too low. And we don't know if it's Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence. Still,
yeah, I don't know if it matters.
Don't know if it matters. Coming back.
And they're off.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN,
the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Nothing, and I mean nothing, delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. Comfort and joy. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code NUMBERS. With 5 generations of experience, they consistently deliver the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code NUMBERS and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code NUMBERS. Minimum purchase may apply. How many people read that and are like, Omaha, Omaha?
Oh, I think everybody who follows football. Omaha Steaks, great stuff, though. Mike Sinnott hooked it up. They sent me some steaks and everything, so I got a good filet mignon. I had some burgers a couple weeks ago from them. It's really good.
Let's try this again.
Check it out.
Watch this. Watch what I do here. Caleb Williams.
He is not special. He is not special. There's nothing special about him.
There you go. So every time I say that now, I want that to come up.
Hodge, you got it.
Merrill Hodge, everybody. Just a little... This Pavlov dog thing we do here. All right, what's next?
All right, next up, early window still, Vikings at Titans.
Vikings at Titans. We talked about the Vikings. Darnold ended up 24 of 38 for 241, but the 3 picks. But they held Jacksonville to 143 total yards, 402 to 143.
Yikes.
And didn't cover. Barely won. As we just mentioned, Jacksonville had 2 shots to win it at the end. 28 to 10 was the advantage in first downs. Can I give you the time of possession advantage?
Oh, please.
42-19 to 17-41.
That's ridiculous.
Oh,
Feels right, though.
Oh, my God. Tennessee yesterday. The Titans lose to the Chargers. We'll get to the Chargers, but Tennessee was 3-0 Chargers. Tennessee's high point was they had a 72-yard drive. Your guy, Billy Levi's, to Calvin Ridley from 42, 7-3 Titans.
That throw looked good.
Yeah. 4:25 left in the first quarter. Later, it's 7-6 Titans. Folk misses a 49-yarder. And then the Chargers are like, that's all we needed. 8 plays, 61 yards. Herbert in from 4 on 4th and 1. 13-7 Chargers. Then later, the Chargers had a 3-and-out. But they punted. So they punted on the 3-and-out. But not before there was this really weird sequence at the end of the first half where the Chargers were getting really frisky with it, up 6 in their own territory, and they made near mistake after near mistake in that sequence, where you're just like, okay, maybe you guys should just like knock it in, go. Remember, there was a scoop and score that they thought the Titans scored, but it didn't survive replay, that whole thing. So 13-7 Chargers at the half. That was the only calamity or near calamity the Chargers would experience. Folk did get a 27-yard field goal to cut it to 13-10, but then the Chargers' Darius Davis, 56-yard kickoff return, sets up a 7-play, 43-yard drive. Herbert to Johnston from 16 out on 3rd and 8. 20-10 Chargers late third quarter. Then later a 95-yard drive. Herbert to McConkey for 37, the biggest chunk. Hassan Haskins eventually in from 1. 27-10. The game would end 27-17. Billy Levi's, ill-advised Billy Levi's, not quite the 9 sacks of I can't say his name because they're going to throw the Merrill Hodge thing out. Not quite. I fixed myself. Not the 9 sacks that the guy who quarterbacks the Bears had.
The Bears quarterback.
But seven sacks for Will Levis. Minnesota is 7-2. The Titans are 2-7. They don't feel like they're 5 games different from each other. Maybe like 3 games different. But Minnesota's still going to be a favorite on the road. I'm going to guess I'm going to be low here. I'm going to say 4.5.
Yeah, you're low. 6.5.
Ooh, that feels like a lot.
Yeah, it does. But man,
do I want to race to bet the Titans?
Yeah.
I do not.
I was going to say, it felt like a lot that the Chargers were laying to this Titans team, too, and I didn't want anything to do with that.
Kevin O'Connell was just so happy to get through that win yesterday. He was like, totally. Oh, thank God, let's get out of here.
As it should be. I mean, that was, you broke it down perfectly. Those interceptions at the beginning, oh my gosh, you rarely see games won after something like that.
There's a few things yesterday. Sam Darnold, no one's going to talk about him for comeback player of the year anymore after yesterday. No one's going to talk about Jared Goff for MVP after 5 picks yesterday. There's
I
a
don't even
few
know if
of
it needed
those.
that. After Thursday,
Yeah.
it was like, all right.
Yeah, after Thursday.
This is a
right.
two-guy race.
So I'm low on Minnesota. So I like Tennessee, but that's not a team I'm racing to bet. What's next?
All right, next up, Raiders at Dolphins.
All right, Raiders were idle. They're 2-7. Dolphins play tonight against the Rams. The Dolphins are 2.5-point dogs now. 2.5.
Yeah.
Against the Rams. So Rams have taken money. So this is sight unseen. By the way, do you have any play on tonight's game?
No, I don't. I
don't either.
I guess this is all. Is this all movement just on the Tyreek Hill kind of news?
Tyreek Hill, we don't know if he's playing or not. Yeah.
So, because this was like 1.5 yesterday morning.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gone out to 2.5. I mean, look, I would lean Rams. Lean Rams and lean the over. This might turn into another team total over for me. I might just go Rams team total over tonight. But
as far as Las Vegas at Miami, I just as a placeholder put Miami in no man's land at 5.5.
This one is 7.
I'm low on everything. Wow. 7. Full 7, huh?
Full 7.
Okay.
This is a pretty gross.
And there's by the way, there's nothing of the difference that we've talked about yet where I'm like, oh, that's wrong.
Right.
That's absolutely wrong.
Especially like when you get to this time of the year. You know what I mean?
I think my guesses have just been deficient. What's next?
All right, next up, still in the early window, Rams at Patriots.
All right, another one we can get through quick because the Rams, again, play tonight hosting the Dolphins, 2.5-point favorites. And the Patriots we talked about, we didn't talk about them. We just talked about the Bears side of it because there's really nothing to say about the Patriots' performance other than that they were playing the Bears. And I guess we got to give the Patriots defense credit. Sure, we can do that. Derek May was 15 of 25 for 184 in the victory against the Bears. And again, they did hold the Bears to 142 total yards, a 328 to 142 advantage. Again, they held the Bears to 11 firsts and 1 of 14 on third down. I will say the Rams minus 4.5 as a placeholder.
This one you are closer to. It is 4.5 to 5.5.
Okay.
I was going to say, I saw a 5.5
right.
earlier, but Circuit's got 4.5 on this game.
Let's do one more.
All right, let's keep on cruising.
Let's roll through 'em.
Early window, Browns at Saints.
Browns at Saints. 2-7 Browns coming off a bye at the now 3-7 Saints. So you're telling me the Saints were 2-0, then they lost 7 in a row before yesterday? That's what I'm telling you. Saints beat the Falcons yesterday in a, are we allowed to call it an NFC South clash? When two teams in the NFC South meet is a clash.
You think you could say that with any division, Gilliam?
This division in particular, though, I wonder about. Blake Group, a 38-yard field goal, 3-0 New Orleans, early second quarter. And then this is another thing about yesterday. These last 2 weekends in the NFL have been so weird. Last week it was the weird late first half offensive explosions. Mm-hmm. And then this week it's just like, okay, you got guys like, we'll get to him. We'll get to Moody. But Young Koo misses a 53-yarder with 12:06 left in the second quarter. You're like, okay, well, it's 53 yards. Then New Orleans, 57-yard drive. Carr to Marquez Valdez-Scantling from 40 out on 3rd and 5, touchdown, 10-0 New Orleans.
Who looks even skinnier in the black uniforms.
Isn't that amazing how that happens?
Really works. Really works.
Do you remember when Pierre Garçon went from the Colts to Washington? And when he got to Washington, he looked like he was double the size. I'm like, who did we trade for? Who did we sign? By the way. 10-0. Atlanta gets it to 1st and goal at the New Orleans 1, down 10-0. Algier stuffs three straight times. So they decide, let's give it to Bijan. He scores. 10-7 New Orleans. Then first play on the ensuing drive, Carr to MVS again. Valdez-Scantling for 67 to the Atlanta 3, and then 3 plays later, Carr to Valdez-Scantling from 2 out, 17-7 New Orleans. Those were all 3 of Valdez-Scantling catches in this game. He was like a shot in the arm for the Saints. And then down 10, Koo, 35-yard field goal blocked by John Ridgeway. So it remains 17-7 at the half. Later in this game, still 17-7, Koo misses a 46-yard field goal. His 3rd miss of the day. He has never missed 3 in a game before that. So that was honestly the story of the game.
Yeah.
Atlanta 2nd and 8 at the New Orleans 44. Cousins then picked by a Honey Badger with 1:59 left in the 4th quarter. Then New Orleans, third play, 3rd and 4 from their own 44. Carr deep to a wide open Alvin Kamara. He drops it. So Atlanta actually takes over at their own 14 with 1:35, down 3 at this point. Down 3. It was 20-17 at this point in the game. Sorry, I didn't update the score. 20-17. They're down 3. They have a chance to do this after Kamara's drop. One timeout left. Cousins to London for 11, to Mooney for 21. New Orleans hold to the New Orleans 49, but then Cousins strip sacked. Atlanta recovers, but way back at their own 32, 2nd and 29 with 34 seconds left. They would get it to 4th and 4 at the New Orleans 43 with 7 seconds left, and I guess you can't really, they had no timeouts, so they were in hurry up, so you can't really hurry up a Hail Mary, so they end up like hurrying up a throw underneath to Ray, and he's stopped short of the sticks, and that was the end of that. So there you go. 20-17 New Orleans. Carr, 16 of 25 for 269. And that's your ball game. They were outgained. New Orleans was 468 to 365, but they still win it. I will say Cleveland at New Orleans, the Saints got to be 3-point favorites, right? That's what it is.
No, we're out to Saints a 1-point favorite right now.
We're giving Cleveland that kind of respect?
Yeah, we are.
I mean, I get it. The Saints weren't that great yesterday, but okay.
Hey, Jameis Winston revenge game, bro.
I kind of like New Orleans there if it's only one. Not with supreme conviction, but I lean there. Coming back, more guessing lines next.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Our all-new VSiN Watch app makes it easy to watch or listen to VSiN anywhere, anytime on your phone or tablet. And for a limited time only, you can watch it for free. Visit the Apple app or Google Play Store now to download the VSiN Watch app and get 24/7 access to our live audio and video stream. Watch replays of your favorite VSiN shows, easily stream video to your smart TV, browse clips by sport, or use the search feature to find the specific VSiN expert insights you're interested in. The VSiN Watch app, free to download for both Apple and Android users, so don't delay. I hate it when you delay. Visit the Apple or Google App Store now to download the all-new VSiN Watch app now and become part of the Sports Betting Network. Matter of fact, Kelly and I were just talking about the VSiN Watch app, and the fact that we get a lot of tweets of people who are like, hey, you know that segment you did 4 days ago or last week or whatever? Is there any way to get that? VSiN Watch app.
Yeah, it's really nice, really convenient. I got to convince the bosses to get the podcast on there because it's so easy and convenient. Like you said, you just pull it up and you can kind of easily sort through stuff that we recently did.
Well, I'm surprised I'm sure they've thought of that. Yeah, no.
I don't know.
Kelly,
I should say something first.
Kelly Bidalon might have to convince them.
That's right.
With your persuasive powers. We get tweets at Beating the Book. For goodness sake, I haven't read any tweets. This is from Jeremiah Westgate. I was on the Steelers, but what I don't get is why they didn't measure. That's interesting, Jeremiah. I think it's because once you go to replay on that stuff, like the chains don't really matter anyway at that point. They're simply reviewing the video of it. And again, that play in question, this is Washington's final drive, as it turned out, because later, obviously, the Rook jumped off sides. But this was, if they get the first down there, they are right on the cusp of field goal range.
Yeah.
That would give them a chance. With Zane Gonzalez, it was not Seibert. With Zane Gonzalez to take a lead in that game or to clinch it if they milk the clock enough. Zach Ertz right at the sticks. The video showed that the ball was at the yellow line, but they kept telling us, remember, the yellow line is not official.
I love when they this is one of those few moments they decide to bring that up, Gil.
Over and over. And then he kind of pulled the ball back a little bit when contact was initiated. So I'm not sure they got it wrong. I'm not sure.
I think it's, who was that, Jeremiah, who tweeted that in?
Jeremiah.
I actually think it's a good point because I think the actual answer to that is they just didn't want to infuriate people more.
Yes.
Because how often have we done this where we see the replays and it's like, all right, here's the new spot. It's hold 2 inches up. Bring in the chains.
That's right.
And then me and Gil will be sitting here today yelling about how we still use chains for this
The
stuff.
chains, exactly. Las Vegas 514, yo. To lose a game by jumping off sides on a 4th down was brutal, talking about Johnny Newton here. But to sit in my seat and be surrounded by terrible towels and Pittsburgh fans, I thought I was in. He thought he was in GD Pittsburgh. We need to blow up this awful stadium and move back to D.C. Sheesh, yeah, we do. Go back. By the way, Darryl Green shot this video on Instagram, the great Hall of Famer Darryl Green, and he's outside of RFK Stadium. Because he wanted to take him, Darryl Green, Hall of Famer, who had so many great moments in his life in that stadium, starting from his very first game where he chased down Tony Dorsett. And he was in his car. RFK Stadium is fenced off, and there's growth on the fence, like it's grown over. And it was just I got so emotional and sad about it because it's like we all spent so many, like the greatest days of my childhood are in that building, and it's done.
Well, it was jammed with Steelers fans yesterday, too.
Well, the FedEx was, or Northwest, pardon me, Northwest, yeah. But when they play Philly, when they play Pittsburgh, sometimes the Giants just overrun with opposing fans.
It's wild.
Overrun.
The Steelers fans are it's incredible.
Yeah, Steelers fans will tell you when you say Steelers fans travel well, they're like, no. It's not that we travel well. We're just everywhere.
No, I was joking with the guys in the back before the show. It's everybody's grandma was born in Pittsburgh, apparently. Like, I don't know. It makes no sense. Like
Jason H11, welcome back, Kelly. Glad you're better. That Vegas flu can be rough. Cough, cough. Yeah. Jack Eureka. I get Dan Campbell protecting Goff's performance a bit at the end there, but not using Gibbs or Monty one last time to try and get closer than 52 was nuts. Jack Eureka, if that is your real name, I was screaming this as well. I was like, what are they doing? Like, you had time for an extra play. You're settling for the 52-yarder, which Bates scraped in. He goes, and some models had a punt as the better play than the 58-yard try for D'Amico Ryan's kick, for Kaimi Fairbairn's kick that D'Amico Ryan's decided to go with. Not either's best, Jack said about both coaches. I would agree. I thought that the D'Amico 58-yard decision was a bit peer pressured by Bates having just made a 58-yarder. And I think the field goal is probably the worst option of the three, field goal, punt, or go for it, given what the risk-reward assessment is, because the downside is bad if you miss. And then I do agree, I was saying it earlier in the recap, the Lions' late sequence was very odd, how they're just like, yeah, sure, we'll just keep the 52-yard.
Some of these kickers have been so hot and cold, too, this year. Like, we were just talking about during the break. I pulled up Younghoe Koo because I feel like there's been a couple times I feel like I've bet on the Falcons recently where I'm like, why is Younghoe Koo just missing kicks? 2 for 7 over his last 4 games is Younghoe Koo.
2 of 7. And the Younghoe Koo thing is interesting because, and we've talked about this before, if you ever really analyze these guys' kicks, and I don't, right, because who does? But Koo, I have noticed, and I've mentioned it on the show, Koo takes 2.5 steps before he kicks.
It's wild. Yeah, it's wild.
How strong was his leg be? There's no wind-up at all. He's like, boop, boop, psh.
He looks like he's the first guy, like in the 40s, to decide I'm going to take a step to the right, like before my wind-up.
But like a golf swing, that should lessen the problem, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're only bringing your club up halfway, as you said off air. So it's like, but no, I guess not. He missed 3 yesterday, and probably big reason they lost the game. Jesse Welch, seems like Merrill Hodge cuts are the most elusive sound bites in A&G history. Yes, they were. He's talking about the fact that we couldn't find it to begin with.
We found it, all right?
No. He's talking about like with the actual clip we couldn't find to begin with the first time, and now this one.
And now we're gonna beat it into the ground. All right, we're gonna use it all the time.
JC 562076. Nice to see Omaha Steaks has gotten so big. Out of high school, that was one of my first jobs. Between Kirby Vacuums, Cutco Knives, and Omaha Steaks, the trifecta of door-to-door sales for him.
Nice. There we go.
There's a tweet about JC. The numbers, guys. Suppose every team is completely healthy. What's your Super Bowl matchup? I'm not sure it's not Lions versus Texans. My point in all this, the Texans are scary at 100%. I mean Super Bowl scary, he says. First of all, I'm glad you asked this question. I am convinced it's the Lions and the Ravens. Sorry, and I know, and if Patrick Mahomes comes in with his cape and makes me an idiot again, so be it.
Yeah, guess what? I'll put one other team up there. It would be Lions versus Ravens or Bills for me. So that just leaves me 2 teams to feel like an idiot with if Patrick Mahomes makes that leap.
Okay. Ben Handorf has a college basketball comment. He says, Gilly, something to keep an eye on in college basketball. Louisville having trouble selling tickets to home games. They've been one of the worst teams ATS the past 3 years, and if they can't sell out versus a ranked Tennessee team, they may be a frequent fade at home and beyond. There you go, a little college basketball note.
Who's not going to the basketball games in Louisville?
Louisville wants one of the great college basketball blue bloods.
Yeah, for real. Was the town that happening now? They got better things to do on a Tuesday night?
Vegas regular saying about the Zach Ertz play in the Washington game. He says, I also put that on Ertz, he says. His route was short and his momentum made that closer than it should have been. Vegas regular, you're 100% right. That is on the receiver to get past the sticks. That is not the quarterback's job.
All right, that one I was wondering about.
Billy Bob adds, the real Soledad adds, the Skins lost that game because Ertz cut that route short. Ertz should have been at least a yard beyond the sticks. They're absolutely right. It is on the receiver. Fundamental football. The receiver has to know where
I don't think he makes the catch, though, if he doesn't come back to it. I was wondering about that when I first saw it. Yeah. I don't know if there was enough on the throw. I don't know if he's making that catch if he stays where he was.
Either way, that's Plinko, right? That whole game.
Totally.
It's just like it's a complete coin flip football game. Anyway, thanks for the tweets.
We could talk the other side about it. We talked about Jaylen Warren for a second, but it's like, okay, if that's a touchdown or something, this could be a Steelers runaway. Who knows?
Well, and the Skins were up 10 after the double dip. Could have been them, with a runaway. So I was just talking about this yesterday. The exact question is a great one. We talked about this with the World Series matchups. If you were doing a matchup, and I don't know who hasn't posted yet, but I think there is a Ravens-Lions bet for me. I don't know what the number is on that as a matchup. I don't care who wins the game. But I think that is. And power rankings are going to be fascinating this week. Because I've been saying, hey, look, I can't unseat the Chiefs. We haven't gotten to the Chiefs yet. I can't unseat the Chiefs at 1. But guess what? After last night, I got to unseat the Chiefs. After the Chiefs-Broncos game and then this Lions game, the Lions and Ravens, to me, are the best 2 teams of football. And the Chiefs, even though they're undefeated, they have invented every possible way to win a football game.
Yeah.
But in your heart of hearts, I say this and someone's going to clip this again. They're not as good as those other teams, right? Question mark?
No, okay, this is where it's tough, right? This is where it's tough because if it was any other team, if they take away the names, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. If this was any other team, we'd be sitting up here yelling for regression.
Of course we would.
You can't keep getting away with this.
Of course we could.
But that's what the greats do, right? The greats get away with this time after time.
Do you remember that game last year? And here's the thing. I was pointing this out. Will Hill had me on his Should Have Bet More podcast last night, which was nice of him. But we were talking about this, and he pointed out that the Chiefs. Remember that the Christmas Day game where they got destroyed by the Raiders? Mm-hmm. And I said to him, I go, if you had told anybody, if you had whispered in their ear, by the way, this Chiefs team still going to win the Super Bowl, you would have lost your mind. They haven't lost since then.
That's wild.
So what they're doing now isn't nearly as bad as they looked on that day, right? I don't know. They are the fly in the ointment, that's for sure. More guessing lines on the other side. Coming back.
Sports bettors,